It is coming up on 8:30 when we come back. Semi Bird, now the Republican endorsed, not the nominee, but the endorsed candidate for governor, joining me on the John Carlson Show. Last Thursday, when I talked to Semi Bird, he was an insurgent candidate for governor, the Republican gubernatorial candidate, Semi Bird. Now, this morning, he is the Republican Party endorsed candidate, courtesy of gaining over 73% of the delegates' votes at the Republican State Convention. Now, it doesn't make Semi the nominee, but it does make him the endorsed candidate of the Washington State Republican Party. He joins me this morning on the Commute with Carlson. Hello, Semi. How are you?
Hello, John. It's good to be back with you. Thank you for having me.
So, what's changed since we last spoke on Thursday, other than what I just announced, in terms of your campaign, in terms of the world Semi Bird is living in? What's changed?
Well, as planned in terms of strategy, our media coverage has quadrupled. We're now doing press coverages, and we're getting picked up by statewide media, and national media is making arrangements to begin coverage. We have a surge in donations. We're talking to large donors right now. We have all the resources of the Washington State Republican Party from that endorsement. That could correlate to $5 million based on the current PDC regulations and as far as gifting and donations go.
Can you explain that to our listeners, how that works?
Yeah, so the Washington State Republican Party can donate to our campaign, and that can be up to, as we understand it, $1.20 per registered Republican voter, and that's a lot of money that can come to our campaign. The Washington State Republican Party has resources in terms of mailing lists and a very large database. They have discounts on vendors.
On postal rates, too, I think. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Postage rates. And so now we have access that we never had. And here's something, it could be boring for some of your viewers, but we have some of our individuals who have been large donors who said that they want to get involved. We did not meet them prior to the convention. We didn't ask them for a pledge, so that therefore we're not in any violation of the PDC in which they made a pledge. But just knowing that we're there for us when we needed them, now we're going to ask for a pledge and donation of funds. That'll give us the money to take us to phase 2, getting prepared for the primary. And so now our supporters and new supporters will see large amounts of money come into our campaign just in time to take advantage of all of the benefits that we will be receiving via this endorsement from the Washington State Republican Party. And I hope that all made sense.
It did, but a couple things left a little open. When you say the Republican State Party can make a donation, what will pull the trigger on them making a donation?
Well, this is my first gubernatorial race. It'll be a simple question. We are doing this. We are doing this. We are accomplishing this. We need this at this time, and at this time, and at this time, giving them the time and preparation. One thing that's different, I would say, based on my observations of their candidacies and campaigns, we are very strategic. This is something I did. This is something I taught, and it's something that I lived. We don't just say, give us a lot of money and we'll just let it lay in a bank account.
Right.
We look at a strategy in terms of milestones, financial milestones. When will we need the money at a specific time for a specific reason? So we will actually share our financial milestone strategy with the WSRP. Keeping in mind, this is Tuesday. They were still hard at work and recovering on Monday, yesterday, from the convention. we didn't want to overwhelm them. Now, naturally, my team was bombarding them with phone calls. And I do feel bad for Jim and his team. They worked so tirelessly. And we're already trying to get in there and give them our strategy and link up with them and get ready to move forward in our phase 2. So we want to give them some grace and some time. But we will be incorporating with them and interfacing with them to move forward.
Okay. So that explains the party strategy. Let's look at the next step, which is the political strategy. Now, Donald Trump lost Washington State by about 19 points in 2020. Lauren Culp, who is endorsed and championed your campaign, lost by, I think, 13, 14 points, something like that. Where does Semi Bird make up that ground? You're a Trump Republican. You're, an out of the box outsider like Lauren Culp was in 2020. Where does Semi Bird make up that ground?
John, I appreciate that question more than you know, because I love analysis and common sense, and that is a very fair question that people need to know. I would almost take Lauren Culp's words, and I had just gotten back. Crazy week. Lauren said it best himself. Now, he and I don't engage. I read stuff. People send me stuff. Lauren Culp made a post, I believe, and I'll summarize it. Lauren Culp ran through the results of the convention, and it's also my observations of the convention. When we come through in such a landslide victory, based on the largest gathering of delegates in the history of Washington State Republican politics, and 73% of them, 72 to 73, come to Byrd for governor, and they give us that honor, those amazing delegates. That sets us up clearly for the primary, because those delegates represents precincts in every single county throughout the entire state. Lauren did not have that. Those precincts, those are geographically positioned strong points throughout the entire state to launch a ground game. Now, just from common sense strategy, that is huge. Lauren Culp did not have the Washington State Republican Party endorsement, nor did he have all those resources we previously discussed. If you take that percentage of 13% by which he lost, and you incorporate that ground game strategy that we haven't even talked about, that ground game geographical advantage, significant advantage based on dedicated delegate PCO captain presence, ready to take action. And I'm going to say passionately ready to take action.
Okay.
That makes up clearly for that 13% gap. And then when you look at the candidate, Simi versus Lauren, I am honored by a statement that Lauren made, honored, in which Lauren said, and Simi is a better candidate than I am. I read that, and what do you say to that? You look at a man who's a patriot. You look at a man who's a veteran. You look at a man who's served his state. And I'm like, thank you. And that's it, because humility. So based on those things, that should answer your question very qualitatively and quantitatively. Okay. And there's so much more to say on that. There is a large...
But keeping in mind that this is a Democrat state, right? How does Semi Bird, who's from the Trump side of the Republican Party, I understand how you get 40% of the vote. How do you get 51% of the vote in a Democrat state?
Yeah, I'll give you another one, my friend. And again, thanks. Keep them coming. I have a dear friend. I'll just, without saying his full name, his name is Kevin. He is or was, up until not too long ago, Democrat PCO. He was the founder for Democrats for Diversity and Inclusion, a black man from the Central District. he and many of his friends will be my canvassing team in the Central District of Seattle. And I can give you names of other individuals who are keenly placed, who will be canvassing for me in Seattle and in Pierce County, Hilltop, Capitol Hill, and many other locations, who are not Republican voters, have never voted Republican. And there's a reason why. I'm not the same candidate as what Republicans have always pushed into Washington state politics. I'm someone different, and they see that I'm someone different, and they are rallying behind me.
So you see these people voting for Biden president and Semi Bird for governor?
Yeah, well, I did not ask them who they're voting for president. I did not ask.
Well, if they're in the central, if they're in the CD, I mean, yeah. Pretty good idea who they're voting for president.
Yeah, but you know what? Can you see that though? I've had that happen. I mean, in terms of people approaching me and telling me,
"Oh, ticket splitting."
You know what? Yeah. Well, ticket we can call it what we want to call it. I don't really care what they do with their ticket. I don't. I care that they vote for Byrd for governor so that we save Washington state. I am concerned with Washington state, but we get into traditional politics and we talk about the down ticket and the ticket splitting and all these things, and I respect it because that's consultancy talk, and those are the phrases they use. I care that real, everyday working class Americans, new young people who have never voted, who are looking at our platform, listening to me, interviewing with me, and asking me those questions, are saying, Semi, I'm voting for you. I've never voted ever before, and I'm voting for you. I have grandfathers, fathers, aunts, mothers telling me my 17-year-old is going to vote for you in the primary, and they become 18 in September. My 18-year-old is voting for you in the primary and the general. They've never voted. People coming to me saying, I'm 35 years old. I have never voted. I'm voting for you. I hear this all the time. I'm a Democrat. And yes, I did have a discussion.
And two-thirds of
Central District.
Two-thirds of the delegates
Sunday
to the state convention were new delegates. So
yes, John, you're seeing it, my friend. New people are coming in, and once we get outside of the Republican Party bubble, which we must acknowledge, 7.1 million, I would just throw that number out there, of folks out there. There are so many who are not engaged in politics, and a large proportion of them are disenfranchised to politics. And so many of that number are gravitating towards us. And now that we have locked up, and I say this with humility and honor to those delegates, look what happened at the convention. We have the Republican Party base.
30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yes, and look what the response was from the other gentleman to the Republican Party base. Look how he responded to those delegates. Look how he responded to the party.
Okay.
How is that going to help except to drive them towards me? And that is exactly what happened. And you can see it on social media.
Yep.
I came here for Dave. I'm leaving for Semi. It was a good convention.
Semi Bird,
of our delegates,
the first black candidate ever to be endorsed by a political party in Washington state for governor, a major party for governor. His campaign website, birdforgovernor.com. That is birdforgovernor.com. Semi, thanks for joining us this morning. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Always, my friend. Take care, John. Thank you.